It is our fear that keeps us from each other. And that is the quote of the day. Welcome back to the Quote of the Day show. I'm your host, Sean Croxton of SeanCroxton.com. Thank you so much for tuning into our Thursday episode. Today's featured speaker is Neale Donald Walsch. Of course, Neale is the author of the Conversations with God book trilogy, which I will read one day. I swear I have probably 75, 80 books at my house that I've yet to crack open. It's one of the most frustrating things going on in my life is I just don't have enough time to read all of these books. But I guess it's a good problem to have. And today Neale is talking about labels. He's talking about fear. He's talking about politically correctness. And way too often we identify ourselves with our labels. You know, we have all of the different facets and aspects of who we are, but we cling to our labels. And what we do with that is we put limits on ourselves. You know, we don't allow ourselves to be fully expressed. We put filters on everything and we filter everything through our labels. And so Neale talks about that. I hope you enjoy it. Here's Neale.
Okay, I just wanted to say that when you were discussing about telling the truth about others, we have a tendency, I think, to think bad things. In the sense when you talk to others about, the first thing we can think of is something bad you want to tell somebody or something negative. But like when you meet somebody and you say, oh, they've got pretty hair or I like their eyes, you don't usually tell them that. And I think it's because it empowers them and then it disempowers you. You feel that.
You know, you've made a very interesting point, and I agree with you with most of what you've said. Maybe with all of what you've said, but I think there's more to it. Yes, sometimes we feel that they're empowered and we're disempowered, but in my own experience, the larger reason that I don't tell positive truths to other people as much as I would like is that I'm sitting over here afraid that they're going to be afraid that I have an agenda that I really don't have.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to look at somebody and say, my God, you're beautiful. By the way, you are beautiful.
Thank you.
But the fear I've had is that, oh my God, she's going to think that I have an agenda. Or to even say to a guy, you're a handsome guy. Then I'm really afraid he's going to... think that I have an agenda. See? And much more than just how you look physically, but how you are and so forth. We're afraid to share our truth. Have you ever met somebody and within 20 minutes discovered that you really are very excited about that person? Just simply excited about that person, but literally afraid to tell them because you're afraid you're going to drive them off or somehow be misunderstood or not be gotten. So you make a very interesting point because we live not only in secrecy, but in fear. You know what fear is? False evidence appearing real. That's a wonderful acronym for fear. I have another acronym for fear that someone gave me that I really like. Feeling excited and ready. Isn't that great? Then there's the third acronym for fear. F*** everything and run. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see whether Nightingale Conant we'll see who's willing to tell the truth. Well, if you can't keep the line in, at least keep the laugh in. You can use the laugh. In fact, insert that big laugh after every joke I tell. But it is our fear that keeps us from each other. Oh, we want to love each other so much. We want to connect. We're so afraid. We want to say to that person, I really connect with you. I just really connect with you. I love your mind. I love your body. I love your whole being. Boy, it feels good to be with you. But what a courageous thing to say. What a scary thing to say. If you need the other person to respond affirmatively. On the other hand, if you need nothing, it's not a scary thing to say at all. And I have to tell you, I say it all the time to people. I go into supermarkets and tell the checkout lady those things. I do. And I don't do it standing on the floor. I usually do it by sitting on the counter. Hop up on the counter and say, do you realize how beautiful you are? Now, you can get arrested for that in some stores. And until we heal the fear, we cannot speak the truth. And so healing the fear will be a huge job. And here's how we heal the fear. We heal the fear by creating a safe space for other people to tell us their truth. We make the space safe. Now, that's a novel idea in this day and age of political correctness, when you can't even say to someone certain things without being accused of something or another, God knows what. It's gotten rather ridiculous. And we have drawn in the boundaries of our own joyous expression. We have closed in the boundaries of our own celebrations of life and then said, there's the line, dare you to cross it. Come on, go ahead. Just say waitress instead of server. You know. So we have to learn all the new names, that we've agreed on, all the new verbiage, all the new vocabulary, so that we don't hurt each other's feelings. No one who knows who they really are could be offended by the word waitress. Only someone who thinks that they are their label, or their hair, or their uniform, or their body could be offended by the word waitress. See, if I'm playing a game called I am my label, I am my title, then a person could be offended. We all know of people who have worked in our organizations who didn't care what title you gave them. They just did the job. And they did it so well that after a few years, they began running around with the title Executive Vice President. That's how well they did their job, because they weren't concerned with how big their office was, or how large the staff was, or what they were called in the organization. They just didn't care. That wasn't who they were. And so they got to be who they always wanted to be out of not caring what you called them. Haven't you all met people or known of people like that? See? The waitress who's going to make the most tips is not the waitress who's offended because she's being called a waitress. But when people forget who they are, you see, we've lost touch. We've lost touch with the roots of our realities, of our individual realities. We've lost touch with the spiritual basis of our lives. And so we're grasping for some other way to identify ourselves. I'm not a spiritual being in a body. I'm not deeply connected with God, moving through an eternal journey. You don't understand. I'm a weight person. Well, you are a weight person, and you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Because we've gotten to a place where we think we are our labels. Absurd. Because we've gotten so caught up in the game of our own devise that we've made it real. and decided that we are that, and placed such a stake, such an investment in being called a weight person. You don't understand. I'm a weight person. You will not call me a waitress. I mean, relax. Do you understand? The whole room gets this. Maybe the answer is that we shouldn't put such values on names and labels and get confused as to who we really are. Maybe we should just say, you know what? It's okay. If I'm a waitress to you, then I'm a waitress to you. It's all right. But I am going to serve this table in such a way that no matter what you call me, you'll never forget that I served your table.
That was Neale Donald Walsch. You can learn more about Neale at nealdonaldwalsch.com. That clip comes from Neale's audio program, The Heart of Truth, which is a 7-hour talk by Neale. It's really good. I've listened to it several times. And so that's available at audible.com as well as nightingale.com. And it's also on the Nightingale Insiders app. If you don't have the app yet, head on over to my website, SeanCroxton.com, and look up today's episode with Neale. It's going to be episode number 66. There'll be a link in there where you can actually get the Insiders app for free for 1 month. And so then it's $19 after that. But you have access to literally hundreds of these talks, full-length talks that we feature here on the Quote of the Day. And so that's pretty cool. And I will see you tomorrow. It is Finance Friday with Dr. John DeMartini, because you can't get enough Dr. John DeMartini. I'll see you then. Peace.